Okay, why is this is a good one. This is a really good one. Why is cash flow getting harder as my company gets bigger? Similar to the other one, actually. My business is growing, revenue is increasing, we have more customers, and on paper things look better than they did a couple of years ago. But strangely, managing cash flow seems to be getting harder rather than easier. We have more staff, larger recurring expenses, and more money moving through the company. We've considered getting investment, but why does cash flow sometimes become more difficult as a business grows? And how do I stop growth from creating a cash crisis? This is so common. I think there's a huge misconception in the business market. So I started my first business at the age of 18. So I've been doing this now 28 years. I've got the grey hair to prove it. People think that, okay, we need to grow. We need more customers, we need to do more sales, but with that comes more issues. Your insurance goes up, you typically need bigger premises, you need more team members, you've telephone, your electricity bill goes up, it just all goes up. And often businesses, as they're growing, people often look at the chart and they imagine that the growth chart's going to go like this, and it really isn't. Every time that you have a growth, you have a dip. And then as you have a growth, you have a dip. But people don't prepare for it. So everyone just tells you, okay, you need to grow your business and everything's okay and it will become right. It doesn't. I would say about 70+% of the failures that I've seen in businesses that have either failed or super struggling is because they've been a victim of their own success, like what we're talking about here. So as businesses grow, you need really good standard operating procedures in place to go, okay, as we grow, we know that we need to do this. You're able to do some forward projections to go, okay, as we grow, we know that we're going to need another vehicle. We're going to need more electricity, more computers, more insurance. So you can start to do some predictive analysis on what your growth looks like. As you grow, funnily enough, your customer acquisition might also increase as well. Your customer may change because the demographic of the business appears larger. So instead of it, you might have started as you as the founder. So you have a personal relationship. You add a couple of people in. You still have that personal relationship. But then when you start to get to growing into 10 plus staff, your business, that you as the founder, instead of you being on the tools, you've probably heard this term, instead of you being on the tools, you need to kind of work on the business. So you're kind of always flitting between. Often you also find as well that you are working more hours than you ever have done before when you were growing the business, but you imagine that you were going to be working less. Like on the other question, some things that I would be recommending that you're doing, I'd be looking at where you have leakage. You will 100% have leakage. I would first start by not cutting marketing, but I would analyze where your marketing spend is. And I would go through the same process as what I've said before with your A, B, C, and D profiling model. And then I would be looking at then what's the serviceability, the cost per acquisition, etc. on the business. And I'd be then looking at breaking down it even further of when are your peak and troughs in the business. So you'll have seasons. So having a look at, do you have higher costs in a winter season or in a summer season? And are there ways that you can reduce that down? Are there other markets that you might be able to expand into with the current team without having to add more expenses? 99% of businesses that I've ever gone and worked in, you've always got some form of a service, a product that you can offer that you are not offering that will increase your profit margin. And I always call these the 1%ers. So what we need to look at is we need to look at 1% change. So it might be we need to do a 1% change in your funnel. We need to do a 1% change in your e-commerce flow or how you're acquiring the customers. We do a 1% change on, say, your telephone plan or your electricity to reduce it down. All of a sudden, if you can do 10 1%ers over 90 days, you've improved the business and reduced costs by about 10%. And I'm simplifying this here just because of the time that we have together. But I would be then ripping the business apart and having a look at each of the areas to go, okay, this is profitable. No, this is losing money, but what's this linked to? And I would do a complete map and a flow of your business to look at, okay, where are we losing money? Where are we making the most money? What can we improve? Once you've got that, I would then sit down with your team for a day. I would highly recommend that you get a third-party person to come in and help facilitate the conversation. And that is, okay, guys, look, we've done some research on what we're doing, we need to look at as a team how we optimize this. So if you've got salespeople out in the field, ask them, okay, well, what can we do to optimize it? Something simple might be on a Monday, they've got a meeting. I'm going to use London again, or the UK. So they might have a meeting down in London, but then on Tuesday, they might have a meeting up in Birmingham. But then on Wednesday, they've got another meeting in London. So something simple there is that you could start trying to group the meetings together, because then you've got cost saving on the fuel. It's just lots of these little things. So it's the 1%ers. So if you have any other questions on specifically that, send that in. And if you can send me a little bit more information on kind of, the industry, what the revenue challenges are, etc., that you have, I can break it down in a little bit more detail for you. All right, that is 5 questions that we have got through today. I would just like to say a massive thank you for everyone that sent in their questions. It's been a lot of fun. I really hope the information that I've been able to share today is helpful, and anyone else that's watching, I really hope that it's helpful. This absolutely fills my heart space, being able to help businesses, do simple little things, because for me, every business has a family behind it. And I think what makes the world great, the economies great, is having small businesses that are doing human to human and servicing. I've got 5 children. My eldest is 24, my youngest is 2. I know the struggles of how hard it is in business, because a lot of people will just look at a business and they'll go, okay, well, it's just, it's ABC plumbing or whatever it might be. But it's more than that. That person is a human being. That person has a wife or a husband or a significant other at home. They might have kids. They might be servicing your sink, but can't read a bedtime story to their kids at night. So it's often in business, we forget that there's human beings behind it. So if I can help your businesses in any way, that you can get home and read those bedtime stories, or just help you get a few more hours back so you're not pulling your hair out, and hopefully be a bit of a shining light and some hope, please keep turning up. Please keep asking the questions. And thank you for turning up to the very first business clinic, and hopefully this is going to be one of many. All right, guys, thank you very much, and I will see you in the next business clinic, which should be in 2 weeks. All right, guys, take care.